Today I'm with our special guest, Cllr Amjid, who is currently councillor in Barnfield Ward, Luton from Liberal Democrat Party. Cllr Amjid, can you tell me about yourself? Where were you born, raised and studied?
Thank you, Zohar, for first of all for inviting me over. It's a pleasure to be talking to you today. As for myself, I was born in Pakistan, in Azad Kashmir, in a small village called Amban, which is about 25 minutes drive from another small town called Chakswari, and about 45-50 minutes from Mirpur. So I was born there, but I came at the age of 8, and I have studied in Luton, stayed in Luton from that age. I went to Maidenhall Junior School, then I went to Choni High School for boys, and then from there I went on to Sixth Form College in Luton. And unfortunately, just as I was finishing off my studies in my second year, my father passed away, so I had to leave education and start working to earn for the family, being the eldest son. From that age onwards, from the age of 18, I've pretty much been in work. I've done several jobs. But lately, in the last 10 years, I have been in the logistics sector. I've worked for companies as a manager in various managerial roles in companies like FedEx, Yodel, and DPD. Since January 2020, I have got my own consultancy firm. So I have a panel of solicitors, mortgage advisors, accountants, and inheritance advisors. As you are aware, our community has very complex. Yeah, our families have very complex situations, which not only need one kind of professionalism, they need a whole team of different professionals to actually work with them to actually address a lot of the problems, especially when our elders pass away and then the estate has to be passed over to the children.
Why did you decide to choose politics?
It's an interesting question, and sometimes I do ask myself that as well, even to this day. Politics is, I think sometimes it has a very negative nuance to it. However, I see politics as a community service. So just like other people will choose to do charitable work, we as politicians, we don't really get paid for our job. We do, however, get a very small allowance, but that in no way encapsulates as a wages or anything. But it's a way of community service. Having grown up in Luton, seeing the way that Luton is heading, and unfortunately it has been heading in the downward direction over the last couple of decades. I believe that I may not be able to change everything, but by my presence and by my activities and being part of the politics, I may be able to change some things.
And why did you choose a Liberal Democrat Party where other parties are as well?
You're absolutely right. I mean, Labour has been the ruling party for over a decade, a decade and a half now. So why have I not gone for them? Well, the truth of the matter is, from my answer from the previous question, is that I actually wanted to do something for the community. And going into a large party means there's a lot of internal party conflicts, a lot of internal challenges within the party, which we sometimes hear of and experience within the Labour Party. And also the fact that the downward turn has been during Labour's rule in Luton. So therefore, I thought, I looked at the situation. I said, well, the reason why maybe the town is going downwards and we're having so many issues is because the council is going uncontested. There are 33 Labour councillors. Even if the opposition got together, they still would not be able to outvote anything else. So, there's a large disparity within the numbers. So therefore, it would make sense to actually increase the opposition so that the ruling party can be brought into scrutiny and they can be held accountable. So, which is why I joined the Liberal Democrats.
What do you think, in your opinion, what are the challenges currently Luton is facing?
Being a Liberal Democrat councillor within Barnfield Ward, and then also being a member of the Bedfordshire Police and Crime Panel, and for viewers that don't understand what that is, that's actually a panel that sits on top of the Police Commissioner. So you have the Chief Constable, you have the Police Commissioner in his office, and then the Police Crime Panel sits on top of that and brings the Police Commissioner accountable and scrutinizes the Police Commissioner. So that has given me a lot of oversight in exactly what is going on. And unfortunately, as much as, you know, a lot of things are being done to remedy a lot of problems in Luton, especially around, you know, youngsters, violence. I mean, every month you hear of someone being stabbed or knife crime, etc. Gang culture. And then we also have a very real problem of human trafficking. You know, in the Asian community, we probably don't see it as much, but when you go into other communities, human trafficking is another issue, sexual exploitation, and then also, you know, the economic growth of Luton. It's good to see that, you know, we've got all of these industrial parks near Junction 11A coming on board now, but for years, a lot of industry has been taken out of Luton. That has meant that, you know, job opportunities in Luton are not as much as they were before. I mean, Vauxhall was one of our main employers, and that losing Vauxhall has meant thousands, tens of thousands of jobs have been lost. Also, if you look at the airport, I mean, recent years, airport has fluctuated because of the coronavirus. Again, it has a major impact. I mean, Luton is a central location, and it should be a central hub. We shouldn't be having these industrial problems. I mean, if you look at it, we've got an airport, we've got 3 train stations, we now have 3 motorway junctions. We are actually right next to the motorway, actually runs through Luton. So we shouldn't really have those problems. I mean, poverty is a very real issue in our town. If you go into the town centre, you see beggars, homeless people. Our adult social services are constrained. I mean, if you look at every aspect of social of our community, you know, you do see challenges, and I think it's years of neglect that have brought us to this situation, and we now need to do better. And as politicians, it's our job to make sure that we now turn the curve. You know, it's had the downward curve. Now it is our joint effort to make sure that it goes back up again.
Cllr Amjid, thank you very much for your time and speaking with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me over.